Vladais.
What's the difference between the Ika, the Amr, and the one before?
Oh, the first one was a Kasha and Rav Yehuda, because it says, I think originally, if the word Hain is in there, which it doesn't have it in our text, but if the word Hain is in there, then we would have thought, then the Kasha was that Hain means the parents, Vladais means the children. That means that we're only getting the third generation. The Gemara answers. In the reverse, the Hain means the children, and then it's a kasha on Rav Huna because you have an extra generation. Rav Huna responds that Hain, which are the Vladais, Hain them. So explanation: Vladais, children, are exempt. Vladais are chayav.
Got it.
Okay, so Rachel Sheyalda Minez. Here we have. You're missing the picture. Here, a sheep that gave birth to a goat. This is it.
That's a goat?
Courtesy of...
It's called the sheep goat.
Can I see that?
It's sometimes called a geep.
Courtesy of Rabbi Dr.
Mating between the two are known to occur. The offspring most often is stillborn.
Do you have a
but it does happen.
pet farm in the backyard?
Go Google.
Whoa.
I'm not going to read this whole thing.
But we had the halakha. We had previously a discussion that the child is the offspring of the mother. Did we not? Parak Aleph.
Yeah.
So why are we discussing?
In Parak Aleph,
You're right.
when we quoted this,
we quoted this Mishnah.
we were quoting this Mishnah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was discussed.
Learn more about
Very
this.
good. Good memory.
Yeah.
Coffee was good.
Coffee's good.
There you go.
Hashem. Baruch Hashem. Imagine if you had some kombucha. You'd be flying.
I had no idea.
See,
No idea.
over here on Daf Vav, when it quotes it, it says the command Yud Zayin Amid Beis.
Interesting.
It's really Tes Zayin.
I think I saw this picture.
Okay. Or Yud Zayin Amid Aleph.
The picture of a human.
Asur Rabbi Shia min Nardai. Baisi Masnisa Biyadi. Rabbi Shia came from Nardai and he brought a brisa. What does it say? Rachel Baseis, Beis Bas Rachel. A sheep, the daughter of a goat, and a goat, the daughter of a sheep. Now, the daughter here is going to throw us off, because if it's a female, then there's no Bechor here, and it's going to really mix us up. Let's say that it doesn't, it could mean daughter or son, that it's
Maybe
it's just an
offspring.
expression. Any
Well,
offspring,
it's
maybe
an
any
offspring.
offspring is called Bas.
I think Rashi says it's just Ben.
Tell me that.
I think Rashi says.
Rashi says it's just Ben.
Something like that. Maybe I'm
I don't see it.
Yeah, it says right here.
Where's the Rashi?
The Gabe is Bas Rachel.
Oh, it's a later. It's a.
Bas Rachel. You wish that Rachel Baseis Bas Rachel.
No. Okay, and that's understood anyway. Okay. So here we have it giving off a. The offspring is called a nidma. It looks different than the parents. Reb Meir Mechayev, the Chachamim Paitrim. Reb Meir says that it's chayev, and the Chacham say it's exempt. Okay, we have this brisa. We don't have a clue what it's talking about, but we have this brisa. Amalei Rabbi Shia l'Rabba. Now, I don't know. Your Gemara would probably say, when it says Rabbi Shia says to Rabba, is that the Rabbi Shia from Nardai that brought it? Because it's spelled differently.
Yeah, it says
Here it doesn't come.
a few Amoraim were known by this name. Reference here is to the third generation Amorik was born in Bavel and moved in Harbia, studied under Rabbi Yehuda and Rav Huna. But I saw in another place that it says Rabbi Shaya was the way they spelled in Bavel, and when it's mentioned in Yerushalmi, it says Rav Harshaya.
Yeah, but here, that could be. That's why I would like to say it's the same one, but it's spelling it in one Gemara differently.
Yeah.
Rav Hoshia says to Rabba, Ki ailas l'kami de Rav Huna, when you go in front of Rav Huna, which Rav Huna was his teacher.
So
But-
was in Bala.
Yeah.
So you went back.
1 second. He said he was from
It
Eretz
says
Yisrael.
he studied under Rav Huna and Rabbi Yehuda, the leading sages of the previous generation, before he settled in Eretz Yisrael with Rabbi Hananya, who might have been his brother. So first he was in Bavel,
Okay.
and he lived in Nardia, and then he later settled in Eretz Yisrael.
Uh-huh. So he
And
tells
studied
Oh,
under
he
Rabbi
tells
Yochanan.
Rabbah when
Tells
you
Rabbah.
go back to
to Rav Huna. Rav Huna was in Surah. Rav Huna was a student of Rav. So when you go to Rav Huna,
ask him.
so ask him, Boimine, Rav Meir Mechayev Lamai. When he says Rav Meir is Chayev, what's he Chayev? What are you talking about, Chayev? Chayev what? What's the case? We don't know which halachas we're dealing with. Are we dealing? If we say we're talking about the firstborn, Rav Meir doesn't hold that if it doesn't look like the parent that it's not exempt. It must be talking about the first shearings of wool.
We had an opinion that a movement is Chayev, not Reb Shimon or something.
Yeah, Reb Shimon.
So why can't he hold like Reb Shimon?
We'll see at the end. We'll see. The Gemara is going to get into that. Yeah. Even then, it needs to be Rav. It needs to be Mijah, right? El Reish Sagez, it must be talking about the first shearings of wool. The Gemara asks, "V'leslei hadetana debei Rabbi Yishmael kavashim sitzam nekasher b'turim Reish Sagez." See, the problem is that goats here, which that would be, if it's Eiz Bas Rachel, then it looks like a goat. So the goats here is exempt from Reish Sagez because it's only Reish Sagez Kleincha, only of your sheep, not the goat. And the goat here would be exempt. Shnemer migez kavtzi yischamim, from the sheep. The wool of the sheep he'll be warmed, so it should be exempt. So Amar Lei Nechsianan says let's try to figure this out ourselves. Rabbah tells to Rabbi Shia. What are we dealing with? Dealing with a sheep that gave birth to a goat. V'aviv tayish. But the father was a goat, a male goat. The father's a male goat, mates with a sheep, and the child looks like the father. In our discussion here, although the main point of this discussion was omitted, the main point is, do we suspect to that father, which we didn't even talk about in the case, but do we follow the father's lineage? And we're arguing about not to kill the child and the parent in the same day. That there is an opinion that holds that you follow the father, that you can't kill the child and the father in the same day. We know it's referring to the mother. There's an opinion that it's also referring to the father. And the Reb Meir Savar Cheshen Lazarav. Reb Meir says we suspect to the father, and over here he says Chayev. Why? Because let's take it for granted that the father must have been a goat, even though the mother was not. If Rabbanan Sabri and Cheshen Lazarav, and the Rabbanan say you don't suspect to the father. So he responds back, he says, so why is that only if the sheep looks like the father, if the goat now looks like the father, let it be. If it looks like a sheep, the same machlekes should be. Do I have, what does it have to do with what the child looks like? We said a sheep gave birth to a goat. We're taking it for granted that the father was a goat. We said the machlekes here.
Sheep, it would look like a sheep, right?
If
the father was a sheep and it mated with a sheep, it's going to look, the offspring will look like a sheep.
it would look like a sheep.
Obviously, the father was
Was
a
a
goat.
goat, okay.
So this
No,
whole
but why do we have to
discussion.
bring a case where
No.
Excuse me?
Why do we need to bring a case of abnormal mating? Just a regular case. It's a normal mating.
Let's say-
sheep mates with a sheep and has a sheep. So the father's a sheep and the mother's a sheep.
Right.
Are you allowed to shech the child with the father?
We did
on the
that
same day.
already.
We had a whole discussion
did
about
it
this in
fully.
Chulin. So why do I need this
case, right?
obscure? Why do I need this obscure case
There's gotta be something
to
it.
tell me that machlekes? If I suspect to the father, in a regular case, you have the same machlekes.
Because we're talking about shearing.
No, we said it can't be talking about sharing the wool because then everyone would accept that you're exempt because the wool of a goat is exempt. So beplugta the Chananya v'Rabbanan. It would just say that's a machlekes Chananya and the Rabbanan. That's in a regular case, a sheep and a sheep, and the question is, can you kill the father and the child in the same day? Eloilam lebechayra. It must be that we're dealing with the firstborn. They're trying to figure this out on their own before he goes back to Rav Huna. And here with what are we dealing with? We're going to have three options here, each of them more interesting than the next. Barachel bas Rachel bas Eis. Anyone that has to deal with shidduchim, so they you think about things like this. Well, the mother was a sheep. You're right, but the grandmother was a goat. So here we have a problem. Mar Savar, one says Zil Basarime. Say, look, mother's a look at the mother. Mother's a sheep. This is a good lineage. Sheep gave birth to a sheep. V'hailav nidbahu. There's no problem here. Mar Savar Zil Basarime. No, you have to go back to the grandmother. Behind nidmahu. This is not. It's not the same. This is a. It looks. The grandmother was a different animal. Okay. V'yiba Yasema. If you want, we could say differently. Barachel bas Eis bas Rachel. See, really, the mother was a goat. It's no good. But the grandmother was a sheep, and this is a sheep. So this sheep is like the grandmother. So Mar Savar Chazra Seyaslam Kaiman. The sheepishness went back. It's coming. That's probably the pshat.
A dormant gene.
Right.
It
Right.
came back.
So that came back. Omar Savar Lei Chazra Seyaslam Kaiman. Another one says no. It's not going back. And it's just a nidma.
It's cheating.
Is that the pshat?
Daf Yomi.
Okay. We don't say that it went back. It's still a nidna because the mother was different. Rav Ashi Amar Kigun Sheish B'Miktzah Simanim. Here's Rav Ashi's answer. This was similar to what you were saying. Rav Yaakov. Rav Ashi says that there are some features that are similar to a sheep, and some that are similar to a goat. And Man Chachamim, Reb Shimon. The Chachamim that say
It's chayiv. In Bechor. Yeah?
that he's chayev. Why does it mean Man Chachamim? It should say Man Reb Meir. No. Damar Achi Reish of Rubi Dem Leimai.
Oh,
No, the Chachamim. The Chachamim say you're exempt.
Alright.
Reb Shimon says that it needs to be the majority similar to the
Right.
mother.
Oh, okay.
So that's the Chachamim that say you're exempt,
It says Raman HaChamim, who are the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Meir?
right?
And they hold
That's
on.
hold it you're
Rabbi
exempt. That would be Rabbi Shimon. So who was Reb Meir's opinion? That says if there are miktzah simanim, that's enough. Oh, miktzah simanim. There are some similarities. Reb Shimon was the more lenient one, and once you have some similarities to the mother, you're already chayiv, and that's the case over here. So Reb Meir says chayiv, and the chacham that say you're exempt, which we thought was the original chacham. No, this chacham here is one opinion, which is Reb Shimon, which is the lenient opinion. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan says, "Meider Reb Meir b'sar shel Rosh Chodesh Tbinin ben Seira." When you bring a goat as a karban, which you bring on Rosh Chodesh, you bring on the other, so appropriate. You bring on the other Yom Tovim, you bring a goat. It needs to be the goat, the child of a goat. Goat ben goat. My timer. What's the reason? Amakra echad. It says seir echad. That means hamiyuchad. Ubami sheishes yimei bereishis. It has to be a goat all the way up from the original 6 days of creation. The Gemara says, "V'hami hachanaf k'mihasim naf." We know this from somewhere else. Shor kesev vayez. The pasuk says, "Shor kesev prat lekalayim." That's excluding if it's a crossbreed. You're not allowed to bring. Oy eiz. What's that excluding? Prat lenidma. That's excluding if it looks like a different animal. So we're assuming that if it looks like a different animal,
It's exempt.
so then it's exempt. That means that if it didn't have the full lineage all the way back, yes, you have a goat here, but it's not a real goat because its parents weren't a goat. So then it would be exempt. So then, and not exempt, then it would be unfit to be a sacrifice. So why do you have to bring it from echad? That it says seir echad. We know it from oy eiz. So tzricha. It's necessary to do that. Dimi hasam. If we would just get from oy eiz, hava mina hani mila hechad leinachs ledari. Aval hechad denachas ledari emaloi. I could have thought that if I have somewhere back as a grandparent, it really was a goat. I could have thought that it would have been good enough, and it went back into its goatness, because the grandmother was a goat, or something like that. Here it's telling me, no, echad hamiyuchad, that it has to be all the way back. And if we would only learn from here, echad hamiyuchad, hava mina hanimil legabi karben chayva. Where does it say echad? Only by the animals that are obligatory, that are brought on Rosh Chodesh, they're brought on the Yom Tovim. Aval nedavaloi, but if someone brings a goat for a donation offering, an oila or shlamim, so then I would say that it doesn't need to be all the way back from the original goat family that was created by the 6 days of creation. The tzricha has to say both. Okay, Amar Rav Acha bar Yaakov. We're going to have 4 halachas here. When you have these cases of a goat that's a child of a sheep, you have 4 halachas here. Hakal Maidim, Rav Acha bar Yaakov says everyone would agree they ain't like an al tzamre mishum kalayim, that the wool is not considered kalayim. Shnemali silba shatnez. It says don't wear shatnez. It says tzemeru pishtim yachdav. The pasuk says wool and linen together. Now we compare the linen to the wool. Ma pishtim shleinishtana, just like the linen is the original linen. You have to find out from all those big companies that do genetic. Monsanto was this big company. They do genetic engineering of the crops. So ma pishtim shleinishtana, just like the crops were never changed. So tzemer shleinishtana, also the wool has to be the original wool from a sheep, and not from a goat that's the offspring of a sheep. Amar Rav Papa. Rav Papa has a second halacha. Hakol maidim shetzamri pasal l'tchelas, that you can't use this wool for tchelas. Shenemar leisil b'shatnes gedilim tasalach, and it says that it compares shatnez. It has in the same pasuk shatnez and tzitzis. So ma pishtin shleinishtana, just like the flax was the original flax. Af tzemer shleinishtana, also the wool is the original. Rav Nachman Yitzchak, a third halacha. Hakol ma'idim shein tzamre metamim menagayim. There's such a thing as a tzaras on a beged, on clothing. But the only thing is, what's considered clothing according to the Torah, not polyester. It needs to be only wool or linen, or both together. That's considered clothing. Otherwise, it's not considered clothing. So here I have a type of wool, but it's not sheep wool. Here maybe even if it is sheep, but it's not. It's the offspring of a goat. Or so shenemar bebeged tzemer bebeged pishtim ma pishtim shleinishtana tzemer shleinishtana. We're comparing it again to the linen. That we say that the flax is the original, so the wool also needs to be the original. Amar Rav Ashi. Let's say you take a grapevine. You know the vine you have to put things in the ground to hold it up. They put sticks in the ground. They make like some sort of is that what it's called? Mm-hmm. And it will grow on this. They can let it grow up. But if you would have a fig tree, it would grow along the fig tree also. The problem is that it may change the flavor of the grapes when it does this. Mm-hmm. So if you let the fig tree be the support for the vine, so it's going to be puzzled to use that wine from those grapes for nesachim. My time a zevach and nesachim, and a sacrifice and the libations. Ma zevach shleinishtana, just like you can't bring a changed animal. So af nesachim shleinishtana. Here also, so by the grapes, it can't have a different flavor. Maskefla Ravina hidla pishtan al gabi higo hachinami delishtani. What happens about the flax? If you let the flax grow over a bush, a shrub, so it's also we're going to have a problem. Imkain lematzamer ma pishtan l'shleinishtana. And you never made a big deal about this, but the truth is, if it grows over a shrub, then you're going to have a flax shrub, some sort of nutrients that are going from one to the other, and we had a whole 4 halachos that said, oh, just like the flax is original. It's not true. The flax is not original. It grew next to the shrubs. The pishtanami mishtani. The flax also changed. The flax is still the same. Yeah, it has a different smell, but it's still flax. And the smell in the flax doesn't matter. The smell in the wine makes a difference. So therefore, if it goes over the figs, so then it's going to be different. Okay. Rachel Shlei Bikra. We're going to have here two Mishnayos. It's going to give us a total of 3 cases. 3 cases of the mother. What the offspring is, we'll have many. But we're talking about cases where we're not 100% sure what the kohen should be getting here. So we have here Rachel Shlei Bikra. You have a sheep that never had a child yet. V'yolda shnei zacharim, and it gave birth to 2 male children. Both of them are eligible to be bechor. V'yatzer shnei rashem ke'achas. Both heads came out at the same time. Rabbi Yossi Aglili Yamishneim Lakain. Rabbi Yossi Aglili says, they both go to the kohen. He has a pasuk. Shneimar hazacharim. Plural. The males go to Hashem. Means they go to their sacrifice. The Chachamim Maimrim Iyaf Shalitzamtim. Chachamim say no, it's impossible that they both came out exactly the same. Ele echad lei v'echad l'kayin. They didn't come out at the same time. It looked like, because you don't know how to measure. You don't have enough measuring things. It's not 100%.
There's a almost 100% chance that the one to the kohen is the incorrect one.
And it's Safek Dorais L'chum.
No, 1 second. Yeah. Okay. So there's two parts here. That one is that it needs to be brought as a sacrifice, but that's only if it doesn't have a mum. Then there's another aspect. The other aspect is that the kohen has a monetary ownership here. So the one that, even if it has a mum, it belongs to the kohen. So the part that it's brought as a sacrifice, what I do is I let it get a mum. The part that the kohen has a monetary ownership here, the kohen says, like, look, one of these is mine. One of the, yeah, but he doesn't need to. He just says, look, one of them is mine. Which one? That we're going to discuss. But one of them is clearly mine. So that you owe me.
But why don't they say, like we said the whole time,
yeah, if there would be only one, that's true. If there would only be one,
and if there's 2, why
if there's 2, he says, look, well, give me one of them. One of them is clearly mine.
Tell me which one. That's what I would answer the thing.
But it's a debt of value.
100%. Tell me which one.
No, you're not getting out of it. No, you're not getting out of the real debt. There's a real claim that needs to be paid up. As the kohen owns $100. Let's say they're each worth $100. The kohen owns $100 of yours. If one of them was a female and one's a male, and you say, you tell the kohen which one came out first. You can prove it. I'll give it to you. But here, he definitely owes him. Over there, he doesn't definitely owe.
When he gives him that sheep, is he yoytze chayvas bechor, or he's just giving him a debt?
No, he's paying a debt. Yeah, that's what you have to say. Because we don't know about bechor.
Okay.
So, echad lai, v'echad l'kayim. That's what the Chacham say. Reb Tarfon Aimer HaKayin Bar Le'Esiyafa. Reb Tarfon says that the Kayin gets the best one here. Reb Tarfon was a Kayin. Rabbi Kiva Mishamnim Beinayim. The Gemara is going to have to explain what that means. V'asheni Yerad Shiyistad. Mishamnim means that they fatten it between them. But the Gemara is going to explain that they discuss the heavier one. No, he definitely gets one, and they argue over the heavier part of it. Okay. But the second one, you wait until it gets a mum. And that second one that you wait till it gets a mum, it could have been a bechar. Right. And it would belong to the kohen, but you paid off the kohen already. So this one belongs entirely to you. L'chayev matanis, you have to give the gifts after you slaughter it. The Zrei l'chayim in the keva. Rabbi Yossi Paiter.
Paiter what?
From matanis. Rabbi Yossi says you don't have to give to matanis. The Gemara is going to explain.
But he doesn't argue on the bechor.
No. This concept of Chaim Matanis, the Gemara is going to say, is a new section. It's not Rabbi Akiva that's talking. It's Reb Meir. It's a Stam Mishnah, and Rabbi Yossi argues on Reb Meir. Meisei Echad Mehem. Let's say one of them died. Now we're talking, right? Reb Tarfon Aimer Yachleiku. Tarfon says that you have to divide it. immediately you're going to ask, what are you talking about? You divided. Reb Tarfon says that the Kayan has the better one. Which one died? The Kayan lost if the better one died.
Right.
The Gemara is going to say that Reb Tarfon was Chayzer. Rabbi Kiva Rabbi Kiva says no. Kayan proves that yours is the one that's still alive, and you'll take it. Meanwhile, I think that yours was the one that's not here. Zachar nekeva ein kan l'kayin klum. Kayin doesn't get anything, because could be that there was no bechor. Could be the firstborn was the girl. Okay. Amri debei Rabbi Yanai. They said in the house of Rabbi Yanai, the Rabbi Yosi Aglili. Rabbi Yosi Aglili said that if there's twins, twin boys. So Rabbi Yosi Aglili said that they both go to the Kayin because it says Hazacharim. According to Rabbi Yosi Aglili, Shaminan Leida Amar Efshal Etzamtzem Bidei Shemayim, that heaven can make it work exactly equal. That they both came out exactly at the same time. B'kolshkem bidei adam, and for sure, if a person measures, for sure he can get it to be equal. Now we're not talking about birth, we're talking about other things where we have to say efshal etzamtzim. Can you do it exactly the same? But Rabbanan bidei shemayim efshal etzamtzim. Rabbanan say that bidei shemayim efshal etzamtzim. One of them was born first, but bidei adam mai. What about if a person puts his mind to it? Can he get it to come out equally? Tashema, come and listen. In the middle of the Mizbeach, there's a red line, and that divides which bloods go above, which bloods go below. If the Rabbanan would hold that people cannot get it correct, and it's got to be a little bit off. If the line isn't perfect, then it's possible that you sprinkled the blood above the line, but because the line isn't perfect, you really went under halfway, even though it's above the line, but the line wasn't perfect. So you end up on the other side, on the bottom side. The Gemara says that's not a problem. You make the line thicker. So you make the line thicker, you have that leeway there.
Is this the source of the expression in English that the person's making a red line to define what's what?
Maybe.
Oh, Obama's red line.
Maybe.
Yeah, because there's a red line where it says
Right.
what
Very
this is A
wide.
or
Very
B.
good.
So the Gemara is the
Very
source
good.
of that.
Tashema. This is my favorite Gemara. Tashema. I'm not allowed to say that. Shema Zunah, you're not allowed to say which one. It sounds like the other ones aren't. But listen to this. Come and listen. Mimidas Kalem, Mimidas Mizbeach. I'm going to prove it to you. Moshe Rabbeinu was told, or Shlomo HaMelech, or David HaMelech was told how to make the Kalem and the Mizbeach. They said exact measurements there. If we say that the Rabbanan hold that people can't do things accurately, how'd they do it? It's all puzzle. You can never get it perfect. Yeah, you get it perfect. Even today, what are you going to, with laser measuring things, they have to use these things to measure exactly these nanometers. So the Gemara says, Shani Hassam, that's a different story. The Rachmana Amar Avid, God said to do it. God's happy if you did it. You hear this?
Obviously, the Torah is not
Big
given
lesson.
to angels. It's
Right.
given to people.
Hakol b'ksav miyad Hashem alai hiskil. The Rashi takes this out. Okay, that all of the building was given to David by in prophecy. Amar of Katina. Rav Katina said the reason why this Gemara is
Is
so
this the term
significant.
that the Gemara uses, Letzamtzem, is a term for measurement?
Yeah, precision.
There's no other term for it? Mida. There's a whole Masechta Midas.
No,
Why does he use
Yeah.
the word Letzamtzem?
the Tzamtzum means to get it 100%
If you're
accurate.
talking about Hebrew, it doesn't.
Uh-huh.
Tzimtzum.
Tzimtzum is a
Tzimtzum
totally
is,
different. It's a
contraction.
contraction. Yeah, it doesn't. It's not related to measurement.
No, the Tzamtzum means to get it exactly precise. So here we're talking about twins. Was it is Efshel
come out
Tzamtzum?
at
They
the
come
same
at
time.
exactly at the same time. Some people said there's like an OCD and a religious OCD where you, maybe I didn't do it right. Maybe
that's
all of this person can go crazy. But this Gemara is like the antidote. What do you mean? Hashem told you to do it. You
The
just
guy
do
who
it, and
says
that's
Shema,
it.
Shema,
Right.
Yeah, it was the brisket there.
You ever
Yes,
see
very,
that?
very
So in
nice.
plain English words,
Huh?
how would you summarize this last
They go like
That's
this.
your
They say
favorite
the word
Gemara.
Oh,
I don't know
because it just
sometimes.
says you just do your best, and
Cover.
Hashem, that's what Hashem wants you to do. Just do your
Cover
best.
all
Even
possible
Moshe
words.
Rabbeinu, if he had any sort of OCD tendency, he would have gone crazy. How do you get the Aron to be exactly 1.5 and 2.5? That would have been unbearable.
Especially when he remeasured in the Yom Kodesh. It didn't exist.
Well, don't we learn that
Well,
from
way
the
to
fact
go.
that one of the malakas is erasing? If you haven't made a mistake, why do you ever need to erase?
Uh-huh.
Right.
Right. Right.
It's one of the 39 malakas.
Right.
It means it occurred.
Right. Right. But that can make it worse, because that could tell you that, oh, I had to do it again. See, they erased. Now let's do it again and again and again. Okay, Tashima. Rav Katina says, come and listen. What happens is, if there's an earthenware oven that breaks, the smaller part is tahar. Only if it's broken into 3, then they're all tar. But if there's a majority of the oven that still remains of an earthenware oven, then it's tameh. So let's say you break it exactly in half. It says they're both tameh because it's impossible that it's really in half. One of them must be bigger, and you can't tell which one's bigger because it could be this one's bigger. But then you look at it from this side, that one's bigger. So you have to consider them both tameh. Amar of Kana. So 1 second. So this is a proof that you can't get it exact, Shani, because only if it's the majority, it's going to be tameh. If it's not the majority, then it's tar. You see, you can't get it exact. Shani klicheres hayel v'yesh begumas. The problem with earthenware is that there's holes in it, which means that sometimes it's sticking out here, sticking out there. You can't measure it different. It's something that you can really measure. If it's cut a real straight line, then it could be humans can get it precise.
But
Why
if
don't
they
you
don't
just
measure it
break
by,
the second piece and then?
Then you can. You break it again. But it's saying if you didn't break it again, and then something touched it, and then all of that. Tashima nimtz mechuven bein shnei ayar shnei mevi shtei agalas. Divrei Rebbe Eliezer. We're talking about the person that dies in between cities, and the city that's closest to the corpse has to bring the egla rufa. Let's say it's exactly in the middle. So Rebbe Eliezer says that they both cities bring. My timer. What's the reason why both cities bring? There must be that humans can get things precise and the measurements are accurate, are exactly equal. The problem is it says in the pasuk that it says hakroiva, the city that's closest to the corpse. Now the city hakroiva is a singular, but Rabbi Eliezer must hold that